Hello again, traders, and welcome to the Pro Trader Network. In this training video, we're going to discuss how to manage mistakes. There are typically two types of mistakes. Emotional mistakes from haphazard behavior and not following our rules, having anxiety and being fearful, and mechanical mistakes. And mechanical mistakes are typically made because when we sit down at our trading platform, we have not reviewed the settings for both our indicators and our order entry system. Well, the very first thing we have to do when we realize we made a mistake is not panic. We have to take a deep breath, and then second, we have to close the trade immediately. Why? Because we have capital exposed with no clear intent and no discipline. What should we do next? Well, we need to stop trading. We have to sit down and evaluate and realize what the mistake is, look at its effect on your account, what your emotions were at the time, and then your actions. Why did that progression take place? What were you doing? Was something out of the ordinary? Is this a bad habit that continues? How are we going to break this cycle? After you've done your post-mortem and realized what the cause and effects were of your mistake, then you have to forgive yourself and move on as quickly as possible. And I'm going to say this time and time again. We can't change the past, so hanging on to it is a waste of time. We have to get over it and then refocus so we can re-engage the market. Let's talk about some typical emotional mistakes. This mistake I used to make all the time. During a news announcement, you see the market whipsawing up and down, and you think that somehow you can get in on some of this price action and put some quick profit in your account. And what happens is, once you enter the trade, brokers during this high volume will not close the trade right away. It's like a busy signal on a phone. They'll say trade station busy, so on and so forth. And if you do get a broker like that, you might want to consider using a different broker. The next emotional mistake is that you observe price action is consolidating and you've been sitting in front of your computer for 3 hours, nothing's really happening, and simply out of boredom, you put a trade in the market. And of course, the minute you do that, the market drops precipitously 100 pips. You didn't have a stop in, you didn't have a profit target. Now what do? I can tell you what you do. You close the trade. Next is you get a signal, but you haven't back tested your plan. You wait, and then finally you validate the signal and enter the trade way too late. The market bounces back against your position, and you close the trade with a loss. When, if you had the discipline, the trade would have gone in your favor, easily reached your profit target, but because of that lack of belief, you got in the trade too late. The next one, traders, is you get a valid signal, but you don't act on it for some reason. You hesitate completely, you don't push the button, and the trade goes for 100 pips in the direction of your valid signal. Now, you haven't really lost anything financially, but you have lost a profitable opportunity. Not taking trades will whittle away at your confidence. Very important that we go back to that building a belief in our trade plan. Not taking trades can be just as habit forming as taking too many trades. Anything outside of a valid signal, we should not react to. However, when we get a valid signal, we have to be prepared and ready to attack. So let's talk about some typical mechanical mistakes that we make, traders. You place a trade without checking the lot size in the MT4 order window. I've done this a million times. If I've done it once, you're trading a full lot. Somehow last trade, maybe you traded 2 lots, closed half a position, but you need to check that order window. We'll go through an example of that in just a minute. The next one, you place a trade, but you're on the wrong pair if you trade multiple pairs, because in MT4, you have an active chart window. It's the window that's got the highlight. We'll look at that as well. You've got a different pair highlighted, but you want to take a trade in a different pair. For instance, especially if you're using a script, you'll double click the script and the script will activate the trade in the highlighted window. You want to take a trade on the euro dollar, but your highlighted window is the pound dollar, and the script fires off the trade in the pound dollar. I've done that a million times. The next one, traders, is you enter incorrect data into a trade management EA. There are a lot of EAs and scripts out there that will actually manage a trade and scale out of a trade when your profit targets are reached. You want to make sure that those EAs and scripts are set up properly. All of this double checking on your order system, your active chart, and your EA or script trade manager must be reviewed before you sit down and take a trade. You want to review all these as part of your trading routine before you sit down and place any trades in the market. Last but not least, you place a trade in the market and you don't enter stops and profit targets. Traders, we never, ever, ever trade without a stop loss. Now, this can be remedied quickly and after the fact, but you need to get on it right away. What happens if all of a sudden there's some news in China that's not on any type of news release website and the market spikes 100 pips against you, or the market continues to rally 300 pips against your trade? We never, ever, ever trade without a stop loss. That is critical to your trading success. Here's our order window in our MetaTrader 4 platform, traders, and you can see that one full lot is highlighted there. You want to make sure that that number is set to the amount of lots that you want to trade. Always check that before you sit down to observe price action. Here's an example of multiple pairs on a trading platform. Here are 8 1-hour charts, and you can see here that the dark border on the pound dollar chart means that it is the active chart. So if I'm looking at the euro dollar and I see a trading opportunity and I fire off a script, or I open my order window and hit buy up market, it's going to activate an order for the pound dollar. We want to make sure we have the right chart activated before we place an order. And here we have a Trade Manager EA. If you look down the list of settings, we have a stop loss here. This one's at 80 pips, a take profit for 80 pips. And these settings, a lot of times, traders, we have to reset every time we open our platform. These have default setting that sometimes we can go into the MQL4 script editor and edit. Sometimes we can't. We're just simply subject to the default settings. We have to make all the changes before we place this type of EA or script on our chart. The second we realize we made a mistake, we calmly close the trade. We're not going to sit and try to eke out some pips, even if the trade goes 100 pips in our favor. That's still no way to trade. We still don't have the correct intent, we still don't have the correct discipline, and we still don't have the correct mindset. So the second we realize a mistake has been made, we close the trade. And until that time, as long as that position's open, you're not going to be able to focus on anything else. It'll be contrary to following your rules and trade plan as long as that trade is open. So we need to close that trade, figure out where we lost our focus and why we made the mistake. We have to do that post-mortem evaluation. What's very interesting, traders, is if you've done the back testing and you know your system inside and out, you'll know immediately when you've made a mistake and what type of mistake you've made. Until you close that trade, your anxiety level is going to spike and your emotions will be frantic. That's just a biological fact. What's the best way to recover from a mistake? Well, the most important steps in recovering from a mistake that are going to be critical to your long-term success are, once a mistake has been made, you have to stop trading. You're going to miss other opportunities, but clearly if you made that mistake, you're not in the right mindset to trade. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made the mistake. Evaluate the mistake and note the causes. Beware of the triggers that might cause this again. If it was an emotional mistake, go back and evaluate your frame of mind at the time you made a mistake. Were you bored, tired, angry, and so on? And then if it was a mechanical mistake, go back and fix those settings in those indicators and scripts and EAs and make sure those are correct. And as I said, make sure that's part of your pre-market engagement routine. Make sure those settings are all correct before you place any trades each trade session. You need to fully let go of the emotions or anxiety created by the mistake before doing any more trading. Remember, we can't change the past, we have to let go. If that means getting up and walking away and spending some time away from your trade station, by all means, get up and walk away. And when you come back to re-engage the market, you want to review your rules and trade plans several times so you can reinforce those proper behaviors that have been proven by all the backtesting work that you've done, so next time you'll be prepared to act on a valid signal. If you're trading live and you find yourself continuing to have difficulty, you really need to reduce your exposure to a micro account, trade pennies and dimes, and then practice till you have some consistency. Only then do you want to scale up, employ some solid money management, and then think about increasing your position size. So our conclusion here, traders, is that managing mistakes is really about preparation and consistent behavior. Checking your trading state while you sit down to trade, removing interruptions, distractions, that's going to help your focus and relax your trading environment. And a thorough check of your trade plan, indicator settings, platform settings, each and every trade session is going to help eliminate those mechanical mistakes. I actually close my platform entirely after each trading session and open it up and then go through that checklist each time I sit down to trade. What it also does is it gets rid of any artifacts left in the trading platform from the previous session. I make it a habit to never trade during news. Always wait at least 15 minutes after the news before entering the market, but that's only after you get a valid signal that meets all the requirements of your trade plan. And the very last one here, traders, is the number one rule when you realize you've made a mistake. Close the trade. You'll never be able to re-engage the market, think clearly, or act clearly while you have an open position that is contrary to the belief you've built in your trade plan. It is biologically impossible. Close the trade, regroup, refocus, forgive yourself, and then re-engage. All right, traders, that's how we manage our mistakes here at the Pro Trader Network. Great to have you here. As always, let's stay focused, follow our rules, and we'll see you next time.